Afternoon, Steve. I'm just starting off with some team news as per usual. Danilo and Serge Aurier, how are they?
Serge is closer than Danilo. Danilo's gonna be out for a few weeks yet. Serge is, like I said, getting closer. It's one that we're trying to push as hard as we can without taking any unnecessary risk. And we'll see how that goes.
You mentioned post-match against Burnley that Willy Boly was not feeling well.
Yeah.
How is he now? Has he recovered?
Well, he's back with us. Yeah, I mean, he took a bit of a hit with the illness, which can take a little bit of recovery time. So there's another one that we're sort of monitoring daily, but he is back with the group. Yeah.
Any other injury concerns by the Manchester City?
No, not from Felipe. Is still managing a knee situation from coming back with the group, but something that we're constantly having to monitor and manage. But nothing new from the game on Monday night.
Now that stuff is out of the way, Steve. It was 2 years to the day you were appointed Nottingham Forest boss, so congratulations on your anniversary. I just wonder, are you ever able to step away for a moment to appreciate kind of from where you've taken the club in 2 years, from the journey? No? No,
I feel exactly the same today as I did on my first day 2 years ago, and that's just in how we get better and how we improve. Of course, over the 2 years, my fondness for the club and my feeling for the club has grown, and you always hope for that to continue. But while that has happened, the responsibility gets bigger. The want to improve increases, and that's where my mentality is. So the intention from day one was to work hard, to do your best, but also to try and improve and have an influence. And the moment you stop doing that is the moment I think that them things don't happen. So if anything, all of that feeling has increased, and I'm only looking forward. I'm not one for looking back. It's a job that I love, and it's a city that I really enjoy being part of. But I also know I'm here with a responsibility to do the best job possible for the football club, and that's always to improve and to be ready for the next game. So no, that's enough said on that. The only thing in my mind is the toughest game in the world, which is Man City away on the weekend, and that's the only thing that I'm concerned about.
As you mentioned, looking ahead to the next game, let's do that. Does that 6-0 from last season still sting, or do you approach this one without thinking about that and just prepare a bit differently?
Yeah, good question. I don't think it's something you should forget. As difficult as what that night was, you should always look to learn and move forward. Listen, Man City, wherever you play them, but particularly at the Etihad, is, as I said, for me the toughest game you can play in domestic football. And you can go there and play well and still be on the back end of a difficult result. That's the reality of the level that they can play at, and we are fully aware of that. But you have to go there with ambition. You have to go there with a confidence. You have to go there with a mentality that you can be at your best, and then things will unfold, So we're under no illusions how tough the game is, but we also know that we are in a good mindset at the moment, and we just, like I've said in the last couple of weeks, we're only thinking about ourselves. We're only thinking about how we can have the impact and influence that we want. If that's enough on a day, great, and it might not be, and particularly on days like playing Manchester City away, but at least we're in control of that, and that's what our approach will be. But huge respect and admiration for Pep and Man City and the level they play at, and what they did last season and continue to do. But at the same time, you have to go there, as I said, with ambition, trying to give the best account that you can.
And just finally from me, Steve, we spoke a lot about the different new signings this summer. I want to ask you about Matt Turner, because we had the pleasure of speaking to him yesterday, and he's a great communicator, but he was really talking about relishing being a number one again in his career at the moment, of course. Just what has he added to the changing room, and what have you seen from him?
Yeah, well, I think everyone knew that after the end of last season that we needed to add to the goalkeeping part of the squad. and we feel like we're in a really strong place now with Matt, obviously Wayne and Ethan is still with us from last year, and we've added Oddie, which we're equally delighted with, and it's a really competitive area of our squad, and that's what we want. We want that all over the squad. So, but Matt's played, and it's really interesting that from last season and this season we've brought a lot of players in that have come to the Premier League for the first time, whether they've come from other top leagues around Europe or a step up, and we've learned that whatever you've done before, when you come to the Premier League and play for the first time, it takes getting used to, because English football, Premier League, the way the games are supported, the way the games are refereed, it's completely unique and different, and there's always an adaptation and a transition period for a player to get used to the level. Some adapt really quickly, some take a bit more time, and I think we've got good examples of all of that and everything in between. So, but for Matt, he's definitely settled into the group. He's a really good lad, very good work ethic to training, really bought into the objectives of the club and the values, and is interested, and he's really good to work with every day, and we're really happy with him. Don't want to say too much because you want your goalkeeper to play well in the next game, of course. And let's hope we can support him to do that. Thanks, Dan. Hi, Naz.
Hi, Steve. You okay?
Yeah, you?
Yeah, very good. In terms of, from a coach's point of view, purely from a coaching perspective, how excited do you get pitting your wits against arguably one of the greatest coaches on the planet and playing in that environment and preparing a team to go up against Pep and City?
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, obviously you really enjoy the process of coaching and preparing for a game, and excited. I'm not sure that's the word I would use about how I feel, because you're so in the moment and focused that that sort of overrides everything else. You're just concentrating on the process of trying to get ready for the game and supporting the players, and hopefully getting a plan together that everybody can commit to. So there's always differences to every game that you play, and you have to recognise that for me it doesn't get any tougher than the next one. But at the same time, you have to go there and back yourselves and believe in yourselves. And I repeat, we could be at our very, very best, and it might not be enough. But we've got to be at our best to give ourselves a chance, and that's what we aim to do.
In terms of the players you brought in, Daniel mentioned some of the new signings. There seems to be an added zip and pace about you with Callum and Morgan and Anthony on the other side. That's a real bonus, isn't it, for you? And that's going to be a threat going forward for you.
I hope so, and that was definitely the intention of bringing all of the players in, was to improve the squad and to give ourselves a bit more variety. There's a balance to that, and I keep using the word transition, but I think that's right. Things don't just happen. We saw that last year more than once. There was the start of the season where we signed players and we had to take a little bit of time to become something. And I found ourselves doing that again after we picked up a load of injuries. And I think there's a little bit of that feeling at the moment. But while knowing there is a bank of work with a lot of the players already there that we have to continue with as well. So we're always trying to find the right balance. Just explain to Daniel and yourself that new players coming in doesn't mean that they're going to hit the ground running straight away and play well. I think you saw that the other night at Burnley. There was a lot of change for us in the game, the formation that we played, players making their Premier League debuts for us, players playing in England for the first time, players playing next to somebody, say, in midfield or for the first time, and there was no way that there was going to be a complete performance. I'm really pleased that there were some positive signs, but I also know that there was some parts of the performance that we looked fairly new and fresh, and when it's like that, then it takes a bit of getting up to speed. So we have to balance all of these things. Eventually, we really want to become a squad that is full of time together and experience and good connections and relationships, and that's what we want to do. We're not in that place now. We're further down the line than what we once were, for sure. But we also still have a percentage of the group that is new and is finding out how we work and how we play, and how they can be themselves and be at their best as well. And that's going to take a bit of time. But at the same time, we've got to pick up points along the way. We've got to win enough games and get the right amount of positive results to allow all of that to happen. And that's a sort of our daily challenge. But it's one we're enjoying and we're going to commit to.
You spoke after the Burnley game briefly about Callum Hudson-Odoi. Obviously, you've brought him to the football club. How confident are you that he can reach those heights that he reached maybe a couple of years ago and come back to the Hudson-Odoi that we know from those days?
No, it's like any of us in life, it's on us, isn't it? So it's on him, you know, and we will support him. We will help him. We'll push him. We'll be tough with him in the right moments, and we'll be with him at the right moments as well. And all of that, we hope, exists with all of the players. But in the end, you have to, if you want to do something in life, whether it's a football career or coaching career or you guys do as well, you have to do it on your own. So he's no different, but he knows that. He's been great since he's come in. He's trained really well. It was great for him to have some good moments the other night. It was also good to see some of the things that we need to work with him as well. So for me, very calm with him, work hard every day, and look forward to trying to get the best out of him. And if we do, we know we'll have a good player on our hands. But you know, we got to get to that stage.
Best of luck for the weekend.
You too, Naz. Thanks, mate. And Charlie. And sometimes the clubs that can adapt the best are the ones who succeed in a particular season. And you know, hopefully we can make some good decisions in doing that as well. Thanks, mate.
Thank you. Cameras off.
Cameras off.
Written section, Michael.
How are you, man?